The stone tablet was older than anything Aryan Verma had ever encountered. His fingers shook slightly as he dusted off the ancient artifact, the flashlight beam cutting through the darkness of the cave deep in the arid landscape of Rajasthan. The tablet, etched with symbols both foreign and familiar, contained imagery that seemed to transcend time. Flying chariots, Vimanas, locked in fierce combat among swirling clouds. Beneath this celestial scene, the inscription read, "The War of the Skies, the Battle for Earth." Aryan's heart pounded. This wasn't just a relic of myth or folklore. It was evidence of something far more extraordinary. This was a key to a truth hidden for millennia, a truth that could rewrite the history of Earth and the cosmos itself. Carefully, he slid the tablet into his satchel. Every instinct told him this discovery would change the world, but he had no idea how deep the truth would go. The air was thick with the weight of what he had uncovered. No longer just a man searching through ancient texts, Aryan had become the keeper of something far greater than himself. And it was a secret that needed to be shared. Back in his study, Aryan contacted his old friend, Raghav Singh, an expert in ancient astronomy and mythology. Raghav had always been skeptical of Aryan's more fantastical ideas, but this discovery was too important for skepticism. Raghav arrived at Aryan's study late in the evening, his face lighting up with curiosity as Aryan unfolded the tablet for him. Raghav immediately started translating the inscriptions, his sharp eyes gliding over the symbols, piecing together the meaning in his mind. Vimanas, the battle in the skies, the Devas and Asuras? Raghav muttered under his breath. This is beyond anything I expected. Aryan nodded gravely. It's all here, Raghav. The Vimanas, the ancient war, the Devas and Asuras, not as gods and demons, but as extraterrestrial beings who fought for the fate of Earth. Raghav shook his head, half in disbelief, half in awe. So, you're telling me the Devas and Asuras weren't just mythological figures? They were real extraterrestrials who came to Earth, fought in the skies, and shaped our history? Aryan's expression was somber. That's exactly what I believe. And I think they're coming back. Raghav stepped back, trying to process the enormity of the statement. He had always known there were gaps in human history that couldn't be easily explained. But this was something else entirely. The idea of ancient, god-like beings from the heavens battling for Earth was something he had only considered in his wildest dreams. Yet the evidence was in front of them now. For the next several days, they worked tirelessly, poring over the text and trying to decipher the true nature of these beings. The more they discovered, the more the ancient text seemed to predict an ominous return. The cosmic war that had once been fought in the heavens above Earth was on the verge of being reignited. The text described the Devas as beings of light, highly advanced extraterrestrial beings who had come to protect Earth from the chaos brought by the Asuras, beings of darkness, destructive forces bent on subjugating humanity. But the Asuras, once defeated, had not been eradicated. They were merely dormant, waiting for the stars to align once again. And now, those stars were aligning. A week later, Raghav and Aryan found themselves standing on a mountain in the Himalayas, their eyes trained on the sky. Unexplained electromagnetic phenomena had increased. Satellites were malfunctioning, and strange celestial lights were seen all over the world. Governments had begun to issue vague statements about unidentified aerial phenomena, but the world was already on edge. Look, Aryan whispered, pointing toward the sky. Raghav followed his gaze and saw the first streaks of light in the distance, brilliant beams that tore through the atmosphere, rippling like a cosmic veil had been lifted. Then, the sky split open, and the ships began to descend, massive, ancient, and glowing with an ethereal light. The Vimanas, the fabled flying chariots, appeared before their eyes, larger and more majestic than they could have imagined. They shimmered in the night, their sleek designs like nothing they had ever seen, and their energy shields radiated an otherworldly aura. Raghav felt a chill run down his spine. They're here, Aryan, the Devas. It's happening. But as the Vimanas descended, another shadow moved across the sky. Darker, more menacing ships appeared, crackling with malevolent energy. The Asuras had arrived, and they were far more terrifying than anything Aryan and Raghav had prepared for. Their ships were jagged, their edges sharp like the claws of a great beast. They glowed with an ominous red light, and the air around them seemed to distort with a dark energy that threatened to tear at the fabric of reality itself. The battle in the skies had begun. Are we ready for this? Raghev's voice was low, filled with uncertainty. Aryan nodded, though doubt lingered in his own heart. We don't have a choice. The war we've only heard about in stories is real, Raghav. And humanity's survival depends on how this battle plays out. The Devas and Asuras, locked in a deadly struggle for dominance, began firing beams of concentrated energy at each other. The Vimanas, graceful and precise, moved with an elegance that seemed almost divine as they unleashed their weapons. The Asuras, chaotic and brutal, retaliated with wild fury, their ships tearing through the sky in erratic patterns, discharging destructive energy that sent shockwaves across the earth. The world was watching, helpless. But humanity would not be passive observers this time. As the battle raged overhead, the world's militaries scrambled to respond. Nations that had once been divided now saw the urgent need to unite. The United Nations issued a call to arms, and for the first time in history, every nation on Earth began coordinating a defense. In Washington, D.C., President John Carter stood in a war room, his face grim. As the world's most powerful military force, the United States had long prepared for the unimaginable. In the deepest recesses of Area 51, they had developed secret technologies, advanced weapons that would change the course of the battle. Captain Mike Harrison, a top-secret military officer and one of the minds behind these weapons, was briefed on the situation. With the Devas and Asuras fighting in the sky, Mike knew the time had come to reveal America's most closely guarded secret, the Ether Project. "Sir, we've been working on this for decades," Mike said, his tone resolute. "We've developed weapons that can match their technology. It's time to deploy." Carter, though hesitant, knew there was no other choice. "Do it." Mike rushed to the underground facility, where massive, hulking machines, ether warframes, stood ready for combat. These machines were unlike anything the world had ever seen. Powered by a fusion of advanced human technology and extraterrestrial energy gleaned from long-forgotten sources, the ether warframes were designed to counter the alien forces. Their towering forms, armed with plasma cannons and energy shields, were humanity's last hope. As the first warframe was activated, the ground trembled, and the massive machines powered up, their blue energy cores glowing brightly. Mike, now suited in his pilot suit, climbed into the cockpit of the primary warframe. The machine's artificial intelligence hummed to life as he locked into the battle coordinates. "Ready for deployment, Captain," came the voice through his headset. Mike nodded, his focus sharp. The warframes surged forward, emerging from their secret hangar and into the open battlefield. As they powered into the skies, the ether warframes launched a volley of energy missiles directly into the Asura's ranks. The blasts ripped through the alien ships, causing explosions that rocked the skies. Humanity was no longer passive. The ether warframes pierced the heavens, their weapons scorching the dark ships of the Asuras as humanity's military began to fire upon them. The collaboration between Earth's forces, bolstered by the advanced technology from the Ether Project, began to push back the alien invaders. On the ground, the world watched in awe as humanity's military, empowered by these new technologies, fought side by side with the Devas. The Asuras, though powerful and dangerous, had underestimated the resilience of Earth's united forces. The battle in the skies became a brutal, high-stakes conflict, as the Devas unleashed their final weapon, the Vajra beam, an immense energy pulse capable of obliterating entire fleets. But the ether warframes were built for this. As the beam descended from the Devas, Mike and his fellow soldiers fired the warframe's energy shields just in time to absorb the incoming blast. "Now, fire everything!" Mike shouted, his voice sharp with command. With a synchronized roar, the ether warframes released their full firepower. The Asura's ships began to crumble under the barrage, their dark energy faltering in the face of humanity's advanced weaponry. In the chaos of battle, Aryan and Raghav watched from the Himalayas, witnessing the impossible, a new weapon of humanity turning the tide of the war. Aryan turned to Raghav. "We were right to believe in humanity's potential. We fought for our freedom, and now we're seeing it happen." The final push came. With a mighty strike, humanity's forces, united with the Devas, drove the Asuras back. The Dark Fleet began to retreat, vanishing into the void of space. As the skies above Earth began to calm, Aryan and Raghav stood in awe of the unimaginable. The Devas, who had once fought to protect Earth from the Asuras, looked down on the battlefield with solemn gratitude. But it was clear, the outcome of the war was no longer in the hands of the extraterrestrials. Humanity had won this battle, and in doing so, it had proved that Earth would no longer be a passive observer to the fate of the cosmos. Mike, standing beside President Carter in the war room, looked at the view screen showing the retreating Azoras. "It's over, sir. We did it." Carter nodded, a rare smile crossing his face. "No, we did it.